Cells, microscopic factories. Cells are the smallest unit of life because each individual cell is capable of carrying out all the processes of life. That means each microscopic cell takes in and uses energy, reproduces, maintains homeostasis, grows and develops, and responds to changes in the environment. It is amazing to think that so much is going on inside something too small to even see without a microscope. In order to complete all of the jobs of life, all cells have parts inside called organelles that have specialized jobs. You can think of the cell as a factory and the organelles as the factory workers. Each worker, from the boss to the janitor, is responsible for carrying out specific, specialized tasks, and each worker relies on the other workers to do their job. For example, without a boss, the assembly line worker would not have instructions for what to build. And without a janitor, the assembly line worker would not be able to carry out the boss's instructions. In either case, the work done in the factory would stop because each worker relies on the work of others. So too with cells. The functions carried out in each of the cell's structures are necessary for the overall cell to work properly and allow the organism to survive. So now that we have read this first section, we need to come down and answer these questions. To do that, you can use the following sentence starters. A cell is like a factory because they both. You can complete this sentence using information from the text. And what would happen if one part was not working properly and why? If one part of the cell or factory was not working properly, then explain what would happen, and then add the word because and finish the sentence. Cells, a system of interacting parts. Animal and plant cells share basic structures. Cell membrane. Cells, like factories, require certain things to enter and exit in order for other parts to do their jobs. For example, nutrients and water are needed inside cells, while waste products, like carbon dioxide, need to leave the cells. The cell membrane, which surrounds all cells, protects the cell and maintains homeostasis by acting as a gatekeeper that controls what is allowed to enter and exit the cell. Nucleus. The nucleus is the part of the cell that stores the instructions, DNA or RNA, for building new cells and for controlling all the cell's activities. For this reason, the nucleus is often called the brain of the cell. This cell part is active in both growth and development because it provides instructions for building new cells and repairing existing cells. As well, this cell part is active in reproduction as the instructions passed down to the new organisms are stored here. Mitochondria. In order to carry out all the functions required for life, cells require energy from food. Food is broken down for energy inside the mitochondria and stored as ATP in the process known as cellular respiration. Without mitochondria, cells would not be able to convert energy into usable form, and thus all life functions would stop. Plant cells have specialized structures. Chloroplasts. Plants are capable of converting carbon dioxide and water into sugar, glucose, using the energy from the sun. This incredible feature of plants is the reason life on Earth exists, because without plants,
Miss
no
Lamont, you're
organism would be
muted.
able to get usable energy. The site of food production is a cell part known as the chloroplast. Chloroplasts are found in cells that are exposed to the sun because it, or light energy, is required for photosynthesis. Therefore, chloroplasts are found in leaf cells, but not in root cells. Cell wall. Plant cells have a cell wall surrounding their cell membrane. The cell wall gives extra support and protection. Because plants need the energy from the sun to make food for energy, they benefit from getting closer to the sun. The cell walls give the shape and rigidity necessary for plants to grow tall. Animals, however, need to eat food because their cells do not have chloroplasts, and thus they can't make their own food. To get food, animals must be able to move. If the animal cells were surrounded by a cell wall, the rigid structure would prevent movement and thus prevent getting food, which would lead to death. In conclusion, cells are sophisticated systems with specialized structures that enable a series of complex jobs for the survival of each organism. All cells share similar structures because all living things, from bacteria to humans, must carry out the functions of life. Yet, differences exist in order to support the diversity of life on our planet. When answering the questions from this reading, you can use the following sentence starters. For the question, what is the job of chloroplasts and why are they only in plant leaf cells? You might use the frame, the job of chloroplasts is, they are only found in plant cells because. For the question, what is the job of the cell wall and how does this relate to the characteristics of life? The job of the cell wall is, and this relates to the characteristics of life because. Why don't animal cells have chloroplasts and cell walls, and how does this relate to function? You could write, animal cells don't have cell walls because, which relates to their function because.